Hello and welcome to Fatherless episode 3. Now, episode 3 will focus on 3 years on how to live, how to work, and how to love. Now, I'm obviously doing my best to not have the banner or any other interference of some sort, and I'm not the biggest on flashy videos, obviously, on this topic. So I'm going to do this a different way and see what comes out of it. All feedback is appreciated. Now this applies for the first three and a half years after losing your dad as a fair timeline. Now this is not a healing timeline, but guidelines to help you feel sane, give you some reassurance and make you feel A, that you're not alone in the world, and B, that there's some sanity while all this is happening and going on. Now, obviously, I'm doing this kind of format, podcast, audio, whatever you want to call it, as when this happened to me, being as raw and authentic and not overly rehearsed. Because no one told me here's this or listen or read this. When this happened to me, when I lost my dad, obviously. So this is to help others, whether it's happened recently, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, maybe even 20 years ago, and you just feel like you just need someone that gets you. Of course, it doesn't always have to be in grief and bereavement. It can be through divorce or not knowing your dad. Fatherlessness is quite broad. And whether you're male or female, it doesn't matter. We're still, I guess, kind of all in this together. And of course, I'm also doing this as I used to work with a security guard who also had 3 kids, who probably are now about between 12 and 18. And I guess this has also helped to them. And I guess also, since this is being filmed on the 19th or early 20th, Sunday the 20th, I guess not to capitalize, but also, I guess, tailor to more of a current situation. Obviously, we probably all know and have heard and read about what unfortunately has happened to Liam Payne, and obviously, if you know him, he has a child as well, or children, we never know. So, obviously, that's not something I've really factored in to do research on. So, you don't need to keep all worrying me. But, obviously, that's a seriousness that, he has a child that is going to be in a very similar situation. So, I guess onto it. While the world has taken this from you, you do have the power to take on the world. Now, as I've mentioned before, you would have feelings of despair, hopelessness, anxiety, abandonment, and hate and resentment, which is completely understandable. So, these first 3 years on how to live, work, and love is going to be different for everyone. And it's not a one size fits all. So I guess coping on how to live on a day-to-day basis would be seeking a counsellor and pay attention to people that regularly check in on you. Now, obviously, when this happened to me, when I was around 18, 19 to 20, I didn't have too many people. I had a lot of work colleagues, workmates and acquaintances, but I didn't really have close-knit friends as per se. But, do pay attention to those that regularly check in, because they're the people that will look after you and have your back and be there to listen. And not everyone will. Some may, and I've had a couple, some may not know what to do or say, and they pull back. Now, you should allow at least a couple of people, understandably, not everyone knows how to do it in a situation, that will pull back. But this, ironically, not a superpower, but ironically, you can use this moment and who cares about you. So do pay attention to this. It's not kind of a manipulation technique where you're going to use this to suss out who your true friends are, but during this time in your life, probably the first year and a half, do pay attention, because obviously you probably will remember this, and down the track you can make your decisions, but do pay attention to who is there for you and who isn't. Some people, as I said, do allow a couple, may not, and I had one. She wasn't, not fully probably aware at what to do or say or treat it, but at the same time, we haven't talked in probably about 1 to 2 years. So, understandably, you do have to put things into context. But yeah, definitely do pay attention to those that regularly check in. And I would also say how to live and cope would be exercising 3 or 4 days through cardio, weights, and other body exercises, 45 minutes to an hour a day. Now, I'm probably not yet the best shape that I've been, so I'm not going to be a fitness guru. There's plenty of those on YouTube and the podcast. But, do keep exercising, find the right time to just keep yourself balanced, and get at least 6 to 8 hours of sleep, and eat right for your age group. 3 to 5 fruits and veg a day, low sugar, things like that. Again, there's plenty of information on the internet. Go see a dietitian if you need be, and set goals and journal. Try to plan ahead. Try to keep thinking, what can I do? Write out your feelings. Write out what you want to do. Things like that. And listen to good music and study. While you're doing your journaling, setting goals, do study and listen to good music. Just music that makes you feel positive. I've noted here what I did to Christmas 2013. I found 2 hobbies, and I exercised quite 2 hours daily. I used to be a very fitness guru, really, really into my exercise. In 2012 and 2013. Studied, got a new job, worked 2 jobs actually, and I learned some new instruments. I learned a bit of piano and keyboard, and met an abundance of a lot of new people. Made, I guess, abundance of quantity of new people to keep my social up. Now, I was still closed off and felt all the feelings I mentioned before, despair, anxiety, not much abandonment, but just hate or resentment to the world, which is understandable. But no one can save you, and this is very important that I would say. No one can save you or will give a magic pill that can heal or you wish to heal. Again, no one will save you, and there is no magic pill. You do have to do this yourself and work on it every day. Now, you will feel, and it might be quite common, that you have low self-esteem. You may feel like low self-esteem. So work on it on every day. Now, on the quick basis on how to work, this is something to be quickly glossed over. For me, I was working part-time, or here in Australia, there's also casual. So that my average was, for the first 2.5 years, 20 to 35 hours a week for 2 to 3 years. Now, you may think, oh, gee, that's not much, but, I was given living situations and different times and different value of money back then. So just with work, focus on doing the tasks, and perhaps minimize customer contact for the first 3 to 6 months. It's understandable if you've lost your father, whether by immediate death or medical illness. Uh, Being in the front line and customer contact is not the best. I mean, there may be some people that can deal with that, and my hat's off to you. But certainly, I think let's be realistic and minimize customer contact. Just because you may be doing everything right, but that one person might have a bad day and upset you, and then you ruin your bad day, and then you go back and spiral. So probably that's the one tip I can give you. Do factor that in. Now, you may need a year, but I think 3 to 6 months is a fair timeline. Now, on the topic on love, we've talked about how to live basically, how to work, and now love. Let's live, work, and love. Now, loving will be hard, as you will be closed off quite an emotional wreck. Certainly I was. There's no doubt about it. And there's attachment styles that you may feel. And again, I'm not a true relationship and psychologist in that, but there's attachment styles. Now, I have marked here there is a book that I wish to note and ask the questions, but I'm going to leave that for the fourth episode, which I may talk about a more personal story as well. I'm going to leave that for the fourth episode, which I may open up about. It is a book that I want to read from, quote, and that, obviously to play by the copyright rules. But briefly touch up on attachment styles. So you probably will feel anxious and fear and avoidance. Now, how will they show up? Well, you may text a lot to the person you're pursuing. You may overcompensate, flower them with love, love bombing, and go overboard, and be needy. So while subconsciously you probably aren't meaning to do all this, things will show up. Now, on the other side of that, avoidance, the 180, you may pull back, avoid, retreat emotionally, and really be closed off. So you might, I guess, in this situation, might have casual sex, for example. Again, that's just an example, where you feel like you're getting some love, but you're not really diving into it emotionally. Now, obviously, I will have some stories on that as well and my experiences, but I may leave that for another one. I was thinking of sharing a couple, but I think I might need to think about what I want to share really before going off the cuff. Now, also in that, you may get casual or situationships or FWBs, with benefits. I know some people will be like, oh, girls, love girls, chicks love scars, all that, but don't use that to heal the wound. I know I definitely was very cautious and definitely didn't want that. I didn't feel right. I mean, you just have to think, you may, even if you are the most, I guess, attractive person to have that, you have to really think, with the situation that's just happened, is this the right thing? Is this how you want it to be? I mean, if you won, $1 million compared to losing your father, if you had the two, and one of them was going to give you that casual situationship and benefit, which one of the two is, not better, but, come on, let's not bullshit here. So, I know some guys will be like, oh, chicks love scars, man, I'm just trying to get over it, I'm just trying to, use it to heal, but don't use it to heal the wound. It's, as I mentioned before in my previous one, I didn't want to be part of a gang member, on the streets, kind of that rough person, given my situation. This is similar to that. You just don't want that. But, look, everyone's the same. I'm not, I can't judge anyone. Everyone's different. But, come on, man. That's all I was going to say. Come on, man. And, on the plus side of love, just build friendships and a social network first. And don't go for someone who has lost a parent as well. At the same time, I read one story of this, a girl that was around my age as well. Her name starting with K. She, very similar, lost her mother. It doesn't work or mix or end well. Don't think if you have two of the same wound, it will be good. I mean, it may work for some, but majority it's not going to mix or end well. So that is my episode of how within 3 years how to live, work, and love. Hopefully that gives you a bit of sanity, a bit of difference, a bit of audio and video. No, it's probably not the most prettiest to look at, but this isn't really a pretty subject to discuss with positivity and optimism. So, I'm sure we can all be fair on that. So hopefully that helps. Episode 4, I'll probably share a more personal story, going more of the stages of grief, which I'll probably tap into that book I mentioned, and the roller coaster of feelings. Talk soon and live well.